picture. Believe it or not, this is the third time I've tried to film this video. The universe has been conspiring against me today. It feels like a really long time since I filmed my last upload, which I think was on the 1st of January. So it wasn't that long ago, but time's just been moving really quickly, and I think it's been a good year so far. I hope you're all enjoying the start of 2022. Hope it's been treating you as well as it's been treating me. If you watched my last video, you might remember that I was planning on using a bullet journal to track my stitching. I've been really enjoying my bullet journaling in general. So I am happy to report that I stitched 27 out of 31 days last month. And what I counted as the day of stitching was in anything, any work at all, even if it was 2 squares stitched, I said I would count that. My output was never as low as that, but I think setting that really gentle barrier of entry for myself to overcome made picking up a whip more appealing. It made it seem easier, more accessible, really, in general. So I like tracking. There was an incentive to, oh no, I don't want to leave that day blank. I want to be able to write down what I worked on. And I've been doing the same for reading. I've been taking anything, 1 page counts as reading. And again, I've really just upped my stitching and reading this month, and in January. It's continued into February. I just forgot that it's not still January. So that's been really rewarding. So in the month of January, my 2 WIPGO projects were Andromeda and Bayonne Cat, and they were the 2 projects that got the bulk of work done on them in January. I had 1 start, which I allowed myself for my birthday. I had considered doing a New Year, New Start, but I wanted to save a new start for my birthday. I didn't really want to start 2 new projects in January. Plus, I just got really into stitching Andromeda in the break between kind of New Year's Day and the couple of days I had off before I started work. So, I did just want to show you all. These are the lovely, cute stickers that I have on my Andromeda box. I think it's cool. They're all like magical and purple and green, and all just vibes well with Andromeda herself. And I have been working on her dress. Ta-da! I really hope you can see the progress. It feels like I've made a lot, and sometimes I think I've talked about this before, where I get like excited that I've made so much progress on her, and like, oh, she'll be done, and I only have the hair left of the lady, which is true, but she is sitting on a giant rock with a big wave of water. It's gonna be a lot of stitching, and I think my plan is to do that before I go back to her hair. I will have to do back stitching, metallics, beading and all after I finish the cross stitching itself, but I feel mentally it will be nicer to have the hair as a finish to the cross stitching itself. It'll feel less like a slog of stitching a rock. It's not really fun or exciting to stitch a rock. And as I mentioned, my other WIP, which I made a lot of progress on, is Bayonne Cat by Forest Embroidery. I am really pleased with the progress on this. I worked a lot on his tail, and I realised that working on the body is really fun, but he's got a lot of motifs around him. In particular, I'm just folding up the fabric to get you a better look. In particular, the motif of trees and mice under it, and I realised, Emer, you're not going to want to stitch that after the body of the cat is done. So make a start on it now, make some good progress. And it's actually quite nice stitching. It's fun to stitch a little mouse during an episode of something. It's been nice to work on. And I mentioned a new start. It's exciting. This new start is Teacups by Fiddlesticks AU. I assume that's like Australia. Very cute. It's a quick and easy stitch. I'm using the call for DMC if I have it, otherwise I am doing closest substitution. The fabric is 32 count J even weave, I think. Probably even weave. I tend to buy even weave. By Picture This Plus. I picked this up in my 123 stitch order last year. That took a million years to arrive. I didn't have anything planned for it, so I just thought this was really cute. It reminds me kind of it's a little more purpley, but it reminds me of that like willow blue china, and it just makes me really happy to stitch on it. So those are the 2 WIPGO projects on my new start for the month of January on to February. Bayonne Cat was also my WIPGO pull for February. He is only on the board twice, so it's a little bit sad to think that might be him done for the year. I will pull him out, but it's the last time that I have to pull him out. My other WIPGO was Hunter Gatherer by Rosewood Manor. Everything else, most of the things on my WIPGO board, I had set a stitch goal of 5 days. Anytime this comes up, right, this one might be on 3 days, or I've planned stitching it for sampler September. But anywhere this comes up, I'm like, I want to stitch a motif. So the motif was this one here, this straight line. And yeah, it was nice to stitch. I am not using the call for colours because it calls for specialty thread. I can't remember the name now for love nor money, but I've been using the DMC substitutions for most of it. There is a large deer and a dog in the body of the pattern, and I have purchased the proper variegated hand-dyed floss. I can't think of it now, I'm sorry. All I can think of is colour and cotton, and it's not that. It's not coming to me. I had a terrible migraine last night. I haven't gotten one in ages, and I got a wicked one last night, and it's still lingering with me a little bit, which is why I'm filming this instead of stitching. Now you might be wondering, Emer, what have you just picked up? Is this a torture device? No, it's a light. It's great. It sits on the table. There's a little like felty kind of bottom. It has a monster size clip. It can clip onto anything. And it's pretty nice and bright. I love it. It's great, especially in the evenings when I'm stitching. The shadows will be quite pronounced. So if I'm leaning my head over a stitch, my big Irish head is going to be casting a shadow on the fabric. So it's great to be able to position this in a way that I'm not being blinded, but it's giving me really nice light to work with. I love it. I can't remember. I got it in a Japanese shop. I can't remember the name for the life of me. I think it begins with Mu something, and it's not Muji, which is a Japanese stationery shop. Not gonna remember it. I have. Well, to me, it's exciting news that I'm going to share at the end. It's exciting cross stitch news. Don't get your hopes up. But another whip that I've been working on, not because it was pulled from WIPGO, just because I wanted to work on it, was the Dark Queen Stitch Along, which is, the stitch along bit is completed, but I'm very far behind. And I've been working on this. I had like the body of the fish started, and I picked this up again 2 days ago, I think, and I didn't get any stitching done last night because of aforementioned migraine. So this has been nice to stitch. I really love how like flowy the shape of the fish's tail is. And there are 3 fish. I have decided that I'm going to keep working on this in the order that the chunks of the stitch along were released. Like, I have the full pattern. I could finish this stitch and start working on the mermaid herself. But I've decided I think it'll be nice to like do each stage at a time, so then I can say, oh yeah, I am, stage 1 is complete. I have 7 stages left. And I think there were 8 stages. And I think the last stage was for beading and back stitching. I have all the beads and everything. This is the fabric, the official fabric. I don't know if my camera's picking it up, but it is that kind of like opalescent sparkly. You can make a little splodge of purple there. That is meant to be there. The fabric does kind of variegate itself a little into lovely purples and a hint of pink, but it's I can see why they recommended it for the stitch along, and I'm glad to have it. And I have all the bead pack and everything, so I don't need to worry about anything. This is all kitted up. I don't know, it's pleasant to stitch on. I don't know if I'd call it easy, but there's something nice about it. Like, there are colour changes. There are plenty of colour changes in the fish's tail, you can see. But maybe they're just like slightly bigger chunks. This might change as we get into the mermaid proper. I don't know. Now, I mentioned I had news. My oldest whip is 6 years old. I started it when I started cross stitching. It was a pretty ambitious piece to pick at the time. It was my first piece on anything other than 14 count white Aida. It is on 16 count cream Aida, but a really nice, soft, buttery feeling Aida. Lovely to work on. And it is called, well, the Google translated name is Cat and Roses. I hope that's showing up nicely. Now, I thought I had lost the pattern to this. It was a free pattern on a Blogspot blog. And why I was having a lot of trouble searching for it was because the blog is in Russian. I don't speak Russian. But I eventually found the pattern. I went trawling through my own Reddit history in the hopes that I would have linked the blog. And I did. I linked the blog. Thank you, past me. So I was actually able to find it. I was able to find the post. And then I remembered why I had set this pattern aside. So it was fine to stitch the salmon of the cat. That was lovely. That was real easy. I'm sure there are a couple of small mistakes, but like nothing that I would have changed had I made them yesterday. Like the rest of the colours. For a start, I had to frog a bunch of navy because for some reason the pattern designer decided that she wanted the leaves and the cat to be navy. And I had started that at the time, and I remember being really uncertain because I was like, no, this is really dark. These leaves are a dark navy colour. That is not the colour of leaves. Leaves are green. I was fairly confident on that front. I wasn't confident enough to do a colour conversion. So I'd kind of said, look, I'll leave it aside and come back with a little more knowledge and see what I can do. And I actually ended up spending a night just frogging all the old navy blue dark stuff. And it already feels better. I feel more confident about it. The pinks and the roses are kind of dark, but that's fine because they're the same colour family as the salmon of the cat. Getting to the other problem with the pattern. There are no symbols on the pattern. This pattern is a grid of coloured squares. That is fine if the colours are obviously very distinct and if it's a small / simple pattern. This uses a lot of similar shades. Even setting aside the colours for the leaves, I will go in and pick my own greens for the leaves. If I can recolour Andromeda's skin, I can recolour some leaves. It'll be fine. But it's really, really hard going to stitch this. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, it might not turn out exactly as the designer has placed the colours, but it's going to be close enough. Plus, the colour key is in a separate image to the pattern. I had thought, oh, I'll go on and use, the teardrop tool to pick the colour from the colour key, and I can maybe change or highlight some of the other colours. No, different images. If I try to copy and paste one over, they're not the same shade. They're similar, but they're not close enough for me to be able to, select all of the same colour. It's not. It doesn't work like that. To my disappointment. I feel my headache coming back just thinking about this. And honestly, this might be the reason why I picked up the Dark Queen stitch along. I was like, no, I want something where it's obvious what colour I'm supposed to use. And it's nice. I mean, this is lovely. This is a beautiful cat. And I still intend on finishing it. It's bloody hard. It is hard work. My tentative resolution to myself is to stitch a little bit on it every week if I can, or at the very least every fortnight, even if it's just one length of thread. I want to make a small, tiny amount of progress. I want to keep inching forward with this cat until it is done. I feel exhausted just thinking about it. Oh my goodness. On to something else before I give up on this cat. That is all my stitching that I have to show you today. I have a little bit of stitching news. in that I am going to a retreat in the UK in March. On St. Patrick's Day, I'm fleeing the country of Ireland, going, no St. Patrick's Day for me, I'm going to England. So I'm going to the Essex Needle Retreat, which is on the grounds of Stansted Airport, which is so convenient for me. I love it. That was honestly one of the big reasons why I was so enthusiastic to go. Aside from really wanting to go to a stitching retreat again, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I just have to show up at the airport. I just fly in and then I'm there. I walk to wherever the hotel / convention centre is. That's easy. There are no trains, buses, taxis. And I think the phone companies have turned off data roaming, or they're going to very soon, or to stop giving free data roaming to EU citizens when in the UK and vice versa. So when I went over in October, I had free data and it was great. So it meant I could Google the bus timetables, and I had that reassurance of like, look, even if something goes horribly wrong, I can find a timetable or ring a taxi or figure out some way to get myself out of the situation. Whereas if they start charging an arm and a leg for internet, that's gonna make travel in the UK kind of harder. I don't want that to happen. So I can't wait. That is from the 18th to the 20th of March. I'm going over on the Thursday just to give myself a bit more time. There are a couple of other people showing up early as well. And I just like the idea that if the retreat starts Friday morning, I can walk in on the Friday morning, go, hello everyone, I am here. Let's get stitching, as opposed to having to arrive at like Friday lunchtime. And it's fine, but I want to make the most of it. I want to get the most stitching time in. And that's also why I haven't bought much haul. I did buy the light, just because I felt that I would benefit from it, and I will take it with me. It's rechargeable as well, which I love. So that's coming to the retreat with me, and I have been kind of setting aside a little bit of money every month in preparation for this retreat, so I can go in and I can lose the run of myself in the shop and not feel guilty, because it is a budgeted loss of control. Can you do that? Can you budget for losing your mind over cross-stitch supplies? Probably not, but you know what I mean. I'll have that money set aside and I can pick up my fabrics and charts and flosses and other fancy stitching memorabilia that I want, and not have to worry, can I afford this? Should I get this instead of that? As long as it fits in the budget I've given myself, happy days, go wild, Emer, knock yourself out. So while I'm over there, I'll probably pick up some fabric and the floss for Persephone by Mirabilia, the chart my brother got me for my birthday. But sure, look, I'll see what I see when I'm over there. I might be distracted by something shinier, by a pretty chart. Who knows? I will have a very exciting video at the end of March, I'm sure, to talk about the retreat, show you my haul, show you all the stitchy progress I made. Be sure to tune in if you want to see that video, and subscribe, like this one, give me a comment. I've had some lovely comments, by the way, so thank you everyone who's commented on my videos. They really make a day special if I get a nice comment, and I love hearing about other people's stitching. It feels like a really niche hobby sometimes, and just having that communication really makes it feel less lonely, or less of a solo hobby, and more of like, there's a community out there and it's a shared interest. So thank you so much to everyone who's commented and watched my videos and just engaged in any way at all. Have a lovely day. Bye.